Coming up today on Studio 13 Live.
Sure, I'll go see comedy if I can be home by 9, then I'll go.
Comedian and UW grad Kermit Appio joins us in studio ahead of his shows in Tacoma. Then the owner of Driftwood on Alki Beach is here to make some Quinault River steelhead and Little Big Farm carrots. Plus, we're learning to make some Valentine's Day cookies with Katie the Cookie Bee. And we are debuting a brand new segment where you at home can play trivia for a chance to win some fun prizes. Today, 2 of you are playing for a chance to win tickets to the Woodland Park Zoo. Studio 13 Live starts right now.
I wanna see you smile, take you another mile. Don't gotta wait, don't gotta wait, don't gotta wait today. It's happening all around, like sunshine through the clouds. I'm gonna make.
Welcome. Thank you so much for being with us today. We're so excited to have you. I'm Mireya Garcia.
And I'm Carly Henderson, and happy Valentine's Day. We love you. We love that you watch our show and we get to spend today with you.
Absolutely. It's always fun and even more fun today. But before we get into all things Valentine's Day, congratulations are in order for our bestie, Taylor Swift.
Yes. So according to Forbes, she was the highest paid female entertainer in 2022. She was the only woman to make the top 10 list, coming in at 9th. And according to the report, she earned $92 million last year, thanks in part, of course, to her newest album, Midnights. The top earner might surprise you. It was Genesis, a rock band that formed in the late 60s, which earned $230 million last year.
That does surprise me.
Yeah. So I was looking at it, and they sold their catalog,
right,
or they sold their masters, maybe the same thing. So that's why they and so many other people were on this top 10 list.
It makes you wonder because I know, something similar happened with Taylor, and then she went ahead and did, Taylor's version, so she kind of owns the songs again. So I almost wonder if all these other artists were like, okay, I'm going to sell and make some money, and then there is that option to re-release.
Yeah, it seems like it. It seems like it for sure. Apparently, she used to, in 2019, she was the #1 person on this list, which I was happy to hear, because let me tell you, only seeing one woman on this top 10 list of highest paid entertainers kind of bummed me out a little bit, but she has been #1 before. And apparently after she goes through her whole Eras tour this next year, she'll get a 9-figure payout. So I think she has to actually do the dates, even though she sold the tickets last year. I think she actually has to go through with the dates. It must be structured that way, but go Taylor, holding it down for the ladies there.
Love to see it. Hey, the Kansas City fans still riding that high from winning the Super Bowl. And meanwhile, Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes riding rides at Disneyland. The Super Bowl MVP went straight to Disneyland after Sunday's win. Mahomes took part in the procession at the California theme park. And oh, look at how cute. There you see him with his fam, wife, 2 kids. They're celebrating at the happiest place on earth. Now, when he won Super Bowl 54 3 years ago, Mahomes actually stayed in Florida for a similar celebration at Disney World. And this is perhaps the cutest tradition. I love to see it.
Cutest ever. Also, I love that he's getting to ride around on that chariot, that float, because let me tell you, when I went to Disneyland, I walked, my little fitness app said I walked 12 miles.
In one day?
In one day. Let me tell you, the next day I woke up, I felt like I was hungover from walking so much at Disneyland. You really get a workout walking and standing around that park. It's really fun, but you're walking a lot. So I was like, oh, I'm glad he gets to ride on that ride there. I guess the whole thing originated too, because back 10 years ago, he tweeted about how cool it would be to be the quarterback to win the Super Bowl, and he would want to go to Disneyland. So now he's getting to do it.
It's very cute. And I love to see young families going and kind of seeing it through the kids' eyes, because I've been to Disneyland a couple of times, or Disney World, I should say, but I'm looking so forward to when my son's just a little bit older and I get to do that with him.
That'll be so fun.
It will be. Now, on to Valentine's Day. Now, do you believe in love at first sight?
No. Do you?
I feel like I don't know. Like adult me wants to say no, and teenager me wants to say
of course, because your brain wasn't fully developed when you were a teenager.
That is true. So a psychologist with the Cleveland Clinic says that love at first sight is only connected to passion. So according to them, the 3 things that make up love are intimacy, passion, and commitment. It is 3 tiers, y'all. So if you think that you're experiencing love at first sight, then you could be kind of making up a love story for yourself to meet up the expectations. You might actually only be like maybe physically attracted to the person. So if you think that you have fallen in love with someone at first sight, you want to make sure, hot tip for you, make sure you actually have hobbies or anything really in common, okay?
Yeah, this is giving me Joe from You vibes, where you look at someone, hello, you. Sorry, I've just been watching a lot of that this week. I will say, though, I have met friends. I've like fallen in love with a friend at first conversation, maybe. I've met a friend, and there's two of my friends that I would now consider lifelong friends. And the first like couple sentences we exchanged, I was like, I want this person in my life. I could see us, like, I don't know if it's chemistry or I was just intrigued by them or what, but I knew that I wanted to be really good friends with them, and then collected them as my friends and made them into my friends.
Yes, force
I said,
them.
hello, you.
I think it must be more realistic though when you're looking for friendship, because then you're immediately on the lookout for things in common or things that you're interested in, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, when you think of Valentine's Day, you probably think of flowers. There is this florist in the Philippines that's taking a very unique approach to bouquets this year. Her arrangements are filled with fresh flowers and vegetables. So some of the bouquets include onions, garlic, tomatoes, and red hot chilies to spice things up a little bit. The shop owner says they're practical bouquets because you can get more out of the gift than just looking at it or smelling them.
I love this idea. Absolutely love it.
I love it too. Yeah. There is some part of me, I love getting flowers, but there is part of me that feels guilty knowing that they're going to die and I'm going to have to throw them away. Yeah. So like, and I'm the queen of reusing things. Like if I get a takeout container, that is not going right into the recycling. I'm going to use it to bring my little berries to work. And like, I just love reusing things and I hate wasting things. So I love the idea of being able to chop up that bouquet and make a nice meal. It's like a double gift.
I think it is great.
Yeah.
And I too feel so terrible.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll ask for like a potted plant, but then like how many potted plants could I possibly own?
Yeah.
I like this a lot. All right, well, maybe for next year in case you're getting regular flowers or something else this year. Hey, a lot of people will be going out to dinner tonight, of course. And how about a restaurant that doesn't allow children under 10? So Nettie's House of Spaghetti is banning children under 10. This is in New Jersey. They posted this on Facebook saying, quote, take a look here. Between noise levels, lack of space for high chairs, and cleaning up crazy messes, and the liability of kids running around the restaurant, we've decided that it's time to take control of the situation. Okay? They went on to say, we love kids, but lately it has been extremely challenging to accommodate children at Nettie's. They've gotten a kind of a mixed bag of reaction here on Facebook.
I mean, that's a pretty dramatic graphic. If you're scrolling through and you've liked them on Facebook and you see that graphic and you have kids, you're like, whoa. But it could be a favor to the parents too, you know? I know when I go out to dinner with like my friends who have kids and their families, there is a lot of cleaning up. And I know like the whole floor afterward has a lot of crumbs on it and stuff, and my friend will get down on the ground and like clean it up afterward, but I bet not everybody does that, you know? And I feel like restaurants are allowed to set the vibe too. They can choose the music, they can have a dress code, they can make it feel more elevated or more casual, and I think they can set the noise level too. What do you think?
I agree.
As a parent.
I agree. I mean, I think that like often, whether it's another person or an establishment that makes a rule like this, I think the knee-jerk reaction is to be offended or to want to defend your child. And, you know, I get that. As a parent, I get that. But I agree. I think that an establishment has the right to sort of set the mood, set the tone. And it comes in all sorts of shapes and sizes. I mean, they're not banning all children, right? Children under 10.
Yeah.
I mean, one time I was in the middle of booking a reservation to this amazing resort, and I checked that they allowed children, but before I paid, they only allowed children 8 and older. My son was 2 at the time. So, you know, like, what are you going to do? I didn't get mad. I just said, well, this place isn't for us right now.
It's the rule. Yeah. Or you'll maybe get a sitter and then get to go on your own date.
Which is also a fun option for a parent, you know?
Yeah. I guess it's their rules. All right, it wouldn't be a holiday if we didn't show you some cute animals, so check this out. The Northwest Trek Wildlife Park in Eatonville spoiled animals this week with Valentine's Day treats. The animals got a wide variety of special activities, good eats, and new decor for their spaces. We know this type of enrichment's not just fun for us, but it's also fun for the animals. I gotta tell you, I feel like getting a dog or any animal, just or maybe even a kid, but I have a pet right now. So getting a pet just makes you love all holidays so much more because you can spoil them and get them dressed up and do all these things, and it's so cute to see these animals.
Yeah, I think if there is anything in your life that brings you more joy in general, I mean, when it's like a special day, you're really gonna love to spend time with them and show them all that love. So, but the thing I love about this is that they gave them like healthy little treats, right? A good reminder for the pet parents, because sometimes I do like to give my dogs a little treat that maybe isn't the healthiest, little mashed potato.
Oh, but your dog loves it.
They do, but you know, you want them to have a good time with you.
Yeah, that's so cute.
All right, coming up next, we are checking in with our Valentines, Jody and Bender. We asked them, they said they would be our Valentines.
Yeah.
They're from Mornings on 95.7 The Jet.
Yeah, we're gonna get the scoop on a pretty big nostalgic reboot that's coming soon, right after the break.
Take you another mile, don't gotta wait.
It is Tuesday, which means it is time to check in with our friends from Mornings on 95.7 The Jet.
Yeah, we're joined by Jody and Bender. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hi guys.
Good to see
happy
you.
Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Happy Valentine's Day. So you got some interesting Valentine's Day notes for us, I hear.
Yeah, it's there's well, a couple things. Number one, everybody pay attention and compliment Jody's hair. She worked extra hard on it today.
It's so good today. You can't tell because of my headphones. It's a lifelong problem.
That's right. Fun facts for Valentine's Day. And Jody falls into the first category of nearly 30% don't celebrate it at all.
Oh.
They
Why
don't
bother?
care.
Every day is Valentine's Day, right, you guys?
Sure.
You know what? I respect that.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day is the #1 ranking for flowers, obviously, of the holiday. Do you guys have any idea when the first Hallmark card came out? Give it a guess. Give it a year.
I'm
Give
gonna
it a shot.
guess 1963.
1919.
1916. So close.
So close.
16?
16.
16.
Wow.
1916. Nearly $26 billion spent for the holidays.
That's wild, guys.
Nothing. Nobody would.
I mean, could you spend a little more? Could you spend a little more?
It says those that do celebrate. Well, $192 is the average of what is being spent for Valentine's Day per person.
I think Mother's Day has Valentine's Day beat.
Yeah, I think so.
I think people spend more altogether. That's coming up.
All right. So we're going to move on to that boyfriend Air story that we actually did yesterday.
Yeah.
But I'm told that this piqued some interest.
Yeah, and actually, Carly, you've got a boyfriend, right? So maybe maybe you can tell us whether this is a real thing or not. Many women have reported, and multiple thousands of people on TikTok all agree with this one woman who said that there was something weird about her boyfriend's apartment, and she couldn't figure out what it was, but her makeup wasn't right. She was sleeping there, didn't feel good. Nothing was good about it. And she attributed it to something called boyfriend air. Partly also attributed to the fact that men don't change their sheets as much as women do, apparently.
Oh.
And all these other women were saying, yeah, when I stay at my boyfriend's house, I don't feel as good as when I stay at my house. It's that boyfriend air. It's that dirty boyfriend air.
I think it's a stereotype.
It's not.
I think it's a stereotype.
It's not a stereotype. These are women talking to each other on TikTok. They all must have had something in common staying at their boyfriend's
I
house.
don't recall when I was single and a bachelor changing my sheets maybe more than once every couple of months.
Gross.
I don't.
What an admission.
I change my sheets every Sunday. You got to have fresh sheets for Monday morning. Am I right?
What an admission.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How did I know when I heard the
Is
term
boyfriend
air that it was going to be stinky and gross?
Stinky.
I just knew before you even explained it. Every boyfriend whose apartment I went over to was always gross. It was never nice. It was never good. It was always like, I could make this so much better for you. So now I live with my boyfriend and our place is great. It doesn't seem gross. Clean. I don't think we have boyfriend air, but certainly before we lived together, every boyfriend's apartment had boyfriend air. Yeah.
Every boyfriend.
You used to be able to draw your finger across the countertop and come up with like an inch of dust, right? Ugh. They just don't have the same management techniques as we do.
I don't think
my boyfriend's way cleaner than me, though. He showers twice a day. He's like very clean.
So does your house have girlfriend air?
It might. Maybe I'm the problem. Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me.
That's a great point.
Hi, you're the problem, Taylor.
I'm the problem.
So what was the other story we wanted to do?
The other story was
Barney.
Was what's coming back. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. How many kids do we have amongst us, like little ones? I mean, I've got Mackenzie.
Yeah,
but
I have Logan.
You're the only one with a toddler.
No, I have a toddler.
Okay,
He's
so
3.
but how
3.
old's Logan?
3. That's Barney age.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And Mackenzie's going to be 2 next week.
Yeah.
And Josh, well, no.
He's 12.
He's 12,
so
okay.
He's not into Barney anymore.
Barney's coming back for the first time since 2010. Barney's been off the air for 13 years.
Long time.
Mattel is bringing Barney back as an animated feature. So no having to worry about the guy in the suit that was causing problems.
You watched that documentary, right?
Less creepy.
Google it after the show if you don't know what we're talking about.
So how do you fix it? You make it animated, not have to worry about. But remember who got their big start on Barney? Do you remember?
Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato.
That's right.
Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato. Very good. So there you go. Barney's going to be back. Apparently in 2024, a new animated series
a whole
along
line
with
of
all
products
the
and YouTube shorts and
stuff,
backpacks and everything.
Hey, happy Valentine's Day! Hold on, I got to show you my shoe.
He really wants to show you his fancy Valentine's Day sneakers.
I got my shoes with the shirt, and it all matches. Yeah,
you're a shoe guy,
happy
Bender.
Valentine's Day. I am 100% a shoe guy. Yes, I am.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you both
there you
so
go.
much. Okay, coming
Bye,
up.
guys.
Happy Valentine's Day.
See you guys. Coming up, Katie the Cookie Bee is joining us in studio.
Yeah, we're learning how to decorate some adorable Valentine's Day cookies. Just stick around.
I wanna see you smile.
You know what I always say, share a little love with some cookies on Valentine's Day. It is such a fun activity for the whole family.
Yeah, and joining us in studio to teach us how to decorate some adorable Valentine's Day cookies, gourmet cookie designer Katie Reed, also known as Katie the Cookie Bee. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I mean, your Instagram was popping. We saw you first on there. How did you kind of, start your business and get this whole thing going? This is just the cutest ever.
Oh, thanks. So my first cookies I ever made were actually for my nephew's 3rd birthday, which I can't believe.
Wow.
Time has passed like that. They were not what I thought they'd be. But now, after a couple years in business, I'm really, really happy, and I love doing all kinds of birthdays and weddings and baby showers, stuff like that.
Beautiful.
That's amazing.
So let's jump right in. What are we making today?
So we're going to make 2 kinds of cookies. We're going to do this cute little tie-dyed heart, and then we're going to do ourselves our own little Valentine's Day florals.
Cool.
Let's get
I
into
know my
it.
skill level.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Very low.
I will be surprised if mine turns out like yours, but I'm really excited to try.
Okay, so to start with the tie-dye one, all we're going to do is take this little bowl of icing. So this is a really loose, liquidy icing. We'll take our colors. We're just going to, yeah, it's so easy. And they turn out really cute. So you just do a couple little squiggles.
Okay.
And then you'll take your little toothpick on your station, and you're just going to kind of swirl your icing around.
Okay.
Now, are you using a special sort of icing?
So this is royal icing. Yep, all of the cookies that I make are with royal icing. So you'll take your cookie, whichever heart shape you want, and you're just going to drop it in the icing. And then quick, 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 pull it up.
Ooh. Look at that. Oh my gosh.
So cute.
It's so pretty.
And then any little edges you want to clean up, you'll take your toothpick and just swipe them
Swirl
like
it
that.
through.
Yeah.
Cool. So should we add more of the colors, or should we just
so
drag
we'll
ours
add
through?
a little bit more color on top of there.
Okay.
And then while you guys
Start
are
with
doing that,
purple.
yeah.
Purple's my fave.
Good.
Is that good?
Yeah.
See, this part I'm good at because I like to be messy.
Now, do you have any tips if you're working on these with little kids?
So this is a really fun one for little kids because they do get to kind of make their own little designs, and they just pop out of the icing really quickly, and they look so fun and cool. You can do them for birthdays or any holiday. You could kind of mix and match colors. The biggest trick is that you want your icing to be nice and loose. You want it to kind of fall off your icing or off your cookie.
You go, Mireya.
Thank you.
How'd I do?
It's so good. Look at it. I love it.
My turn to get messy here. Let's see.
So embrace the messiness.
Yes.
Embrace the imperfections
It's easy
and
to
all
clean.
this. That's really an ideal assignment here. I don't know if I could make these beautiful dinosaurs or anything like that.
These are quality work.
This is fun.
Thank you.
So give it a little swirl.
A little swirly swirl.
That's so great.
Beautiful. I want this big chunky part.
How long did it take you to become really good at decorating cookies?
So it took me months and months and months. I first decorated my first cookies in October 4 years ago, and then I opened my business in February. So it was kind of nonstop practice from then on. And there was a lot of my family eating a lot of free cookies.
That was awesome. Should we start the second design?
Yeah, so the second one we're gonna do are these little florals. So I just kind of took a round cookie and I painted it with green royal icing last night so that it had lots of time to dry. So for me, I'm gonna start with the white because I want my red roses to pop out on top. So all you have to do with this is you're just gonna do little circles around. Let me give this a quick little clean. And you're just going around. And so this one, I'm using a little metal flower tip on my icing. And this is gonna be really different consistency. This is a really thick consistency so that it stays, it stays its shape. So then for this one, you can do little stars or more little circles like this.
Oh, I love the little stars on there.
So you mentioned that you often need to let them dry. Thank you so much. So how long does it usually take before they're ready to go?
So before I package them, I like to let everything dry at least overnight so that it doesn't stick to the bags when I'm packaging up custom orders or anything like that. But they're ready to eat right now if you wanted to snack on your little heart. Little mid-morning snack never hurt anybody, right?
Yeah. Now, I feel like having all the right tools really makes this a lot better than I expected myself to do. So talk to me about some of the classes that you teach.
Yeah, so I teach classes. We just finished our Galentine's Day class. And I have an Easter class coming up. I haven't quite decided on a date and time yet. And then I'll do a Mother's Day class as well, which is always really fun to do with lots of little kids. I generally will do them at wineries, which is always, little wine loosens you up, makes you better.
Decorate and sip.
Yeah.
I think, too, in the world where we're just on all these Zoom calls all the time, just constantly connected, it's just really nice to do something like this with people you love.
Yeah,
what a great activity. I think we did pretty good. I like that one.
Yeah, I ran out of time. But my favorite was the tie-dye one. I loved it. Oh, Katie, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
You can order your custom cookies from Katie the Cookie Bee. She also hosts cookie decorating classes, like we said. We have a link to all that info on our website, fox13seattle.com/Studio13 Live.
Yeah, and lots to come on Studio 13 Live. Coming up next, UW graduate and comedian Kermit Appio is in the house ahead of his show tonight in Tacoma.
We'll chat about why performing here is a unique experience. We'll be right back.
I wanna see you smile, take you another mile.
Hey, welcome back. Okay, so our next guest is a very talented comedian. He was the winner of the 2009 Great American Comedy Festival, and he lives right here in Seattle.
And tonight he is performing at the Tacoma Comedy Club. But first, he is joining us right here on Studio 13 Live. We say hello to Kermit Appio. Welcome, welcome.
I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me. And you know what's exciting? I got my wife a stolen cookie for Valentine's Day.
Oh, yes! Yeah. Glad to help.
It says Mireya on it, but I'm still...
She'll love it.
Yeah,
she won't
know.
know.
Very nice. So you were actually born in Hawaii, but you moved to Seattle to go to UW. Tell me about that.
I was born and raised in Hawaii and just, got sick of the sun every day and rainbows and palm trees, icky. No, I came to the University of Washington, started doing comedy, and when you first start doing comedy, nobody's flying you anywhere, so I had to be someplace where I could drive to gigs. So I stayed here and wound up falling in love with Seattle.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we have to talk about your amazing name. I'm always saying, like, the things that you probably get made fun of when you're a kid are the things that make you so unique and special when you're older. So I love that your name is Kermit.
And
what's the story?
It's why I'm sitting right here today, because when I was a kid, I grew up in a little more dangerous part of Hawaii that you don't see in the brochures.
Yeah.
And so even though I was a taller kid, I wasn't big by any means. And you realize that getting into fights was a lot harder than making fun of yourself first. And so I started making jokes about myself, and that sort of disarmed everybody and to develop my sense of humor.
I love that.
That is so amazing. What is it like for you to perform so near to where you live? I mean, does it make you panicky? Or do you love it?
Well, I travel a lot. I travel all over the place, and yes, it is kind of weird when you see people who have seen you before, just because you're wondering, boy, how much new stuff do I have since you saw me last? Like they'll be reciting it with you. But no, I love performing here just because it's where I started. Yeah. You know, I started in Seattle, so a lot of my stuff builds around the sense of humor here.
How long have you been doing comedy?
I've been doing it. I think I quit my day job in May of '91.
Oh my gosh!
I was 23 years old, and I thought, I'm just going to do this. This is going to be like my backpacking through Europe that young people do. Yeah. And then at 25, I was going to grow up, and I'll always have that story that I was a comedian, and it just it didn't end.
How did you know when it was time to quit your job and like go all in on comedy?
When they were offering money.
Yeah.
Because so the first couple of years you're doing a lot of free shows. You're just trying to learn, and then all of a sudden I was getting paychecks for it. And I thought, paychecks? I wonder if I could do this in other states and sort of get paychecks from other people. So,
oh my gosh! Do you remember like your first big splurge once that money started coming in?
Oh no, a guitar.
Yeah.
Because I was on the road, and I realized my hobby just became my job. I had just started doing comedy full time, and I walked by a pawn shop, and I thought I need another hobby, so I bought a guitar. It was a big deal for me.
So I feel like traveling, it has to be different doing comedy state to state. What are some of the kind of wildest differences that you've noticed?
Well, it's not so much a difference. The fact is, like, people laugh at the same things, right? We're all about, you know, embarrassment, anger, joy. You know, the emotions of comedy are all kind of the same. The trick is trying to figure out how those things are accessed through other places, right? And so it is different in just tiny details, but it's very similar in the fact that we all feel the same things we laugh at.
I think that's so interesting too. What would you say has been like your favorite decade of life so far?
My favorite decade, my favorite decade of life was the 40s, because that's when you realize I don't care anymore. I'm not trying to impress anybody. You're you're walking around in cargo shorts and dress socks, you know, with sandals. Like you're not trying to pretend anymore. You know, you put on the good sweatpants to head to Fred Meyer. You know what I mean? Like you just
Do you think it's been your most comfortable moment in comedy as well then?
Yes. Yes, because for a long time, you know, you're trying to figure out what the industry wants from you or what the audience wants from you, and then you start to realize that the best things about me are what I feel, the things that are about my life. And when you see people laughing and nodding, you go, okay, that's it. That's what I'm going for now. And yeah, so that time in my 40s when I just started saying, this is what I want to talk about. And I mean, I was doing that before, but I really just went that way in my 40s.
I almost feel like the pandemic and people being at home, and like when you talk about going places in like your sweatpants and like socks and sandals, like I started doing that very comfortably during the pandemic, and I never really stopped, and I'm not 40 yet. So I feel like it almost like all accelerated us to that comfort level. I love it.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. After the lockdown, me and pants had a very tenuous relationship. I hadn't like put on a belt in months, you know. I totally understand.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Where do you feel like you get inspiration from nowadays?
Most of what I write is about my life. So if it happens to me, I react to it. Just because as I started to develop comedy, I realized the stuff I worked hardest on were the things about me. I'm not a good observational comic. I can't take a mug and start talking or writing mug jokes, you know. And I realized the things I really worked hard on were like, oh, this happened to me, and I kind of want to express that, you know.
I love it.
And as somebody who has had such a successful comedy career, what is your advice to young comics today?
It's what all comics say basically. Stage time and writing are the two things. You can't get better without going on stage. So you just have to take every gig that is offered to you, and and just try and get on stage as much as possible. I mean, I once did a between periods of the hockey game in Tacoma.
Oh my gosh!
It was really tricky. Like, I'm standing on the ice. I can't hear if people are laughing or not because they're all so far away. A lot of people are heading out to the concessions, and I'm trying to do comedy to 360 degrees worth of people. And it was so difficult, but I'm glad I did things like that. Yeah. They just make you better.
Definitely.
And they make you appreciate audiences where they're all sitting facing you,
yeah.
and they're close by.
Practice.
Great story. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, Kermit.
Thanks for having me.
This has been
awesome.
And,
and yeah, big show tonight at Tacoma Comedy Club. And the way I figure it, if you are right now at 11:40. Still making your Valentine plans, then comedy is for you.
Yes.
Then you and your partner are into laughter.
You gotta laugh. You gotta laugh. Yes, again, doors open tonight at 6:30 for a 7:30 show. We have all that info for you on the tickets up at fox13seattle.com/studio13live. Thanks again.
Yeah, come see us again.
Appreciate it.
All right, coming up next, it is the debut of Pop Quiz, where two viewers compete against each other in some trivia to win some awesome prizes.
Yep, we've got two viewers standing by right now. They are ready to play, and we'll explain how you can enter to play too right after the break.
Great job.
Don't gotta wait.
It is time for Pop Quiz. We have two viewers at home competing for a chance to win some prizes.
Yeah, and we are joined by our trivia host with the most, Brian McMillan. Hey, Brian.
I'm so excited. I had to get dressed up for you in the red suit because, it means Valentine's Day. Gotta do it up for Valentine's Day. So excited. Today we're joined by Jeremiah from Renton and Kelsey from Bellingham. And they're both competing for a chance to win tickets to the Woodland Park Zoo. Jeremiah, you're gonna be with Mireya here, okay? And you got a speeding ticket because your family didn't know your name. What's up with that?
Yeah, so growing up, I was known as BJ, but obviously my legal name is Jeremiah, and that's what's on my driver's license. So one night I was driving home from a party and got pulled over. My cousin was a sergeant on duty and heard the name Jeremiah, but couldn't match it with anybody he knew, so he told the officer to write the ticket.
That's terrible luck.
It's anti-nepotism.
That's right. Kelsey, you're going to be with Carly. And Kelsey, I hear you're a huge Disney fan, and you've gotten into this super exclusive Club 33. Have you guys heard of this?
No.
How did you get into Club 33?
Yes, I love Disney, and back when Disneyland was built, Walt built this exclusive club for dignitaries to come and have dinner and a respite from the day, and I got an invite to have their famous 4-course meal, and it was exquisite and an unforgettable experience for sure.
Wow, yeah, I've heard the wait list is like 15 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, yeah, pretty wild. Well, that's pretty cool. All right, here's how the game works. I'm going to ask each of you 4 questions. They're all multiple choice. You have 15 seconds to answer. If you need help, you can ask your partner, Carly or Mireya. One time only. You can only do it one time. Are you guys ready to play? Let's play Pop Quiz. Let's do this.
Let's go.
Yes.
All right, today's category is love.
Love it.
Very fitting, right?
Yes.
Very fitting. All right. First question is going to go to Kelsey. And Kelsey, what is the highest grossing romantic comedy film of all time? Is it A, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, B, What Women Want, C, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, or D, Hitch?
I'm going to say My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
That is correct. Yes, that is correct. Nicely done. A point for Kelsey. All right, Jeremiah, you're up next. On Sunday, Rihanna made history by becoming the first blank to perform as the main act in the Super Bowl halftime show. Was she the first A, married woman, B, pregnant woman, C, black woman, or D, person with 6 toes?
Definitely B. It was definitely B.
Definitely B. B, pregnant woman. That is correct.
Hey, we don't know how many toes she has.
You know what? You're right. I haven't seen her toes. I'm
sure they're out there somewhere.
All right, it's all tied up 1-1. Back to you, Kelsey. Here we go.
I'm ready.
So it's a little tougher. William Shakespeare mentions Valentine's Day in which of his plays? Is it A, Taming of the Shrew, B, Twelfth Night, C, Hamlet, or D, Macbeth?
Taming of the Shrew?
Oh, I'm sorry, that is not correct. It is Hamlet. Hamlet.
Oh, I
would not have guessed that.
No.
I wouldn't have guessed that one either. All right.
Hey.
Jeremiah, you're up. Here we go.
Okay.
What major invention was patented on Valentine's Day? Was it A, the telephone, B, the toaster, C, the light bulb, or D, the television?
Oh boy, that's I don't know that specifically, so I'm gonna save my hint. So I'm just gonna guess. Let's go with C.
C, the light bulb. I'm sorry, that's wrong. Yes. No, it is the telephone. The telephone was patented on Valentine's Day back in 1876. All right, we're doing okay. Still tied up.
Yeah,
it's anybody's game.
We're tied. Yeah.
Kelsey, you're up. The O in XOXOXO means what? Is it A, kisses, B, friendship, C, wedding ring, or D, hugs?
Hugs.
Hugs is correct. Yes, that is right. And by the way, historians believe that in the Middle Ages, the X would be used to sign documents, and then people would kiss the X to seal it with their sworn oath.
Okay.
So that's how that started. Wow. Don't know how the O started, but that's how the X started. All right, back to you, Jeremiah. Who created the first Valentine's Day box of chocolates? Was it A, Russell Stover, B, Richard Cadbury, C, Louis IV, or D, Milton Hershey?
I'm going to go with Russell Stover. I think that was A.
That was A, and I'm sorry, that is wrong. It was Richard Cadbury, who, by the way, makes a good egg.
I hear he does.
The eggs are delicious. I demand those every Valentine's Day. All right, Kelsey, you're up. What fruit is also known as the love apple? Is it A, cherries, B, grapes, C, tomato, or D, watermelon?
I'm leaning towards one answer, but Carly, can I tap you in for this?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't know. My guess would be grape.
Your guess is grape?
I don't know what you're leaning toward.
I'm thinking cherry. So I'm gonna say cherry, and I'm probably wrong.
Cherry is wrong. I'm sorry. No, it is tomato. It is tomato.
Oh, we both were wrong.
And the reason is because of its heart shape. Yeah. Tomatoes were thought to be an aphrodisiac. And that's how they got the term love apples.
I thought it was a trick question, because I always forget that a tomato's a fruit.
All right, you can tie it up here, Jeremiah, with this last question.
Okay.
Premiering in 1965, this ABC show was the first reality dating game show on television. Was it A, Love Connection, B, The Bachelor, C, Blind Date, or D, The Dating Game?
I think I know what I'm going to go with, but Mireya, do you have any ideas?
I think it's either the Love Connection or the Dating Game, but I'm not. They don't tell me the answers, my man.
And that's what I was going to as well. So I remember the Love Connection on when I was alive, and so I don't know if it lasted that long. So I'm going to go with the Dating Game.
The Dating Game is correct. Yes, Jeremiah! We're all tied up, guys. We got to have a tiebreaker, okay? That's how this works. All right, so the tiebreaker question, you both get to answer, okay? I'm not going to give you multiple choice. According to Hallmark, Valentine's Day is the second largest holiday for giving greeting cards. Approximately how many cards are given every year for Valentine's Day? You'd have to guess a number.
1 billion.
1 billion, all right. Okay. Jeremiah, what's your guess?
I'm going to go with 125 million.
The answer is 145 million. Jeremiah, you were the closest and you're the winner! Congratulations! You won 4 tickets to the Woodland Park Zoo!
Yay.
Oh, you guys did so well. Those questions were tough about love.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for playing. Congratulations. We'll send those out to you, Jeremiah. Thank you so much for playing, Kelsey.
Thanks, you guys.
And if you wanted to enter for a chance to win prizes, you can head to fox13seattle.com/contest. Guys, that was so much fun.
That was so much fun.
What do we have coming up next?
Trivia game. So much good stuff coming up next. It is time for Emerald Eats, and we've got Dan Mollahan here with Driftwood to tell us all about his new restaurant on Alki Beach.
Yeah, he's sharing where he gets his inspiration from and how his work is bringing eating local to a whole new level. We'll be right back.
I wanna see you smile.
It is time for Emerald Eats, where we highlight amazing food in our area.
Yes, and today we are joined by the owner and executive chef at Driftwood, Dan Malahan. Hello, how are you doing?
Very well, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Look at all these beautiful colors we have going on. So Driftwood, it opened up in Alki in January. That is not that long ago.
No.
How's it going so far?
It's going really well. Yeah, January 5th was our opening day, and we've had some general bumps in the road as far as, an exploded stove and the power went out on the first Friday night. And, just the classic thing.
The universe had to make sure you really wanted to do this,
exactly. But everything on the service side and the food and the actual execution of dinner service has been going really well. People have been very receptive, and it's been fantastic. The local community has been very supportive, so
beautiful.
We're definitely blessed on that side for sure.
Speaking of food, we are doing two beautiful dishes today. Let's get right to it.
Yeah, so we're doing a steelhead preparation that we get from we actually get from Northwest Bounty. He works directly with a lot of Native American tribes in Washington State. So this is from the Quileute tribe. It's from the Quileute River. This is a little beet puree that we make with a little salt dough. So we take salted dough and encrust the beets and then cook them until we kind of like roast them until the outside dough is set, and then we continue to cook them for an additional 6 hours until it's really, really concentrated in flavor. The beet kind of cooks in its own juices. It doesn't release any of the moisture, and then you're left with this like perfectly seasoned beet. Then we puree with olive oil, and that goes down the plate to start. And then we have this awesome little quenelle of smoked steelhead rillette. So rillette is just the actual steelhead belly. So we take the fish and we keep the loin for the seared piece, and then we take the belly and add a little bit of Greek yogurt, a little bit of goat cheese actually, which is not typical. It's seasoned with like fennel and coriander and black pepper. And we smoke it with green cedar boughs.
By the way, this looks like it takes practice.
Yes, doesn't it?
You want to try?
It's beautiful.
I'll give you another spoon, Brian.
Brian
give it a go.
He should try.
You got it.
What I can already tell is that the presentation is amazing. Okay, all right.
There you go.
Presentation is beautiful already. Yes.
And then this last component. So this is like all the parts of the fish on one plate. So we have the loin that we sear. We have the belly that we turn into rillette. You got it.
You're doing it. You're doing it.
That's it. All right. We'll put that one right here.
Okay.
Perfect. For the next plate.
Okay.
And then this is actually steelhead roe that we've cured in salt and then with gin. So this is fresh steelhead roe from the same fish. And we put that right on top of the rillette. And then we just do a little olive oil, drizzle on top of that, and a little fresh black pepper. And then we have a sauerkraut that we make in-house with some purple cabbage and then some sauerkraut cabbage, which is like a larger kind of yellow cabbage. We combine the two and it makes this beautiful like pink color. This is just naturally fermented 14 days outside of refrigeration until funky and sour and awesome.
But you can't eat it.
You can eat it. It's actually really, really good for you.
I don't know if I would know the perfect level of funkiness.
It's probiotics, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's lactobacillus. It's like a naturally occurring thing that grows on anything that's close to the ground. And we just use that culture to inhibit the breakdown of the vegetable. And it has this awesome, beautiful flavor and color, traditional sauerkraut.
So pretty.
It's pretty to look at. Usually, when I make stuff at home, I feel like I just kind of slap it on the plate at the end. Like, this is
you gotta get some like fancy, tweezers and tongs and things.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm already thinking how I'm gonna rub the little sauce on the side the next time I make something. It's so nice.
That takes some practice. That's also one of the things with that color. You gotta just leave it alone.
Yeah.
It's a one and done type scenario. And then we just have some nice greens, such as mustard greens, just a combination of a bunch of different mustard greens that we put on to kind of make it nice and bright, and a little bit of spice. And then we just finish with a little bit of sherry vinegar and some sea salt.
This does look amazing. I gotta say, wow.
And protein rich, you're tracking your numbers like moi.
Yeah. What is it, 110 a day? What's the goal?
I'm trying to hit 115 a day.
All right, there it is.
There you go.
This is it right here. Look at that.
Look at that.
And you have a veggie option too, right?
Yeah, we're doing this awesome preparation of carrots. We work with a couple of farm partners throughout Washington, but this is Little Big Farm. They're in Olympia. We have a couple of different preparations of carrots. One's raw, a roasted carrot, and then a fermented carrot. We do a hot sauce in-house, and we take that brine after the peppers have been fermented, and we then put carrots in that brine, and then do a similar thing we do to the sauerkraut, kind of wait for about 14 to 21 days until the vegetable's broken down. And it has this like awesome texture. It's like sour and funky and a little bit spicy because it used to be a hot sauce. This is just a little raw kale pesto, kale and arugula pesto that we have down on the plate. Oh yeah.
I am so obsessed with all the bright colors in these dishes.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Where do you get most of your inspiration from?
The market. I mean, we're the whole concept of what we do is literally market driven. We're a community restaurant focusing on the abundance of Washington State and really supporting the people that grow food here. So our mantra is like eat local first. Yeah. So, you know, for a bunch of reasons, but we'd rather support the food communities that are in Washington. So we do our best to source all of our fresh ingredients, all of our produce, all of our proteins is just from Washington State.
Beautiful. So we have about a minute left. I'm going to hop over here to try this with Brian. And Carly, you'll have to tell us what you think of the veggie option.
So are those thinly sliced carrots
Yeah,
too?
these are raw. Yeah, and we just put them in a little ice water just to shock them and get them to curl a little bit. Although this guy's not behaving. Obviously.
It's really good. Definitely wouldn't be able to make something this pretty myself.
Oh yeah,
so
you can. You definitely
can.
And then this is the fermented ones that are just have this awesome spice scenario too, which I think you really like if you're into spicy stuff. And then we do a little bit of toasted pistachio.
For the crunch.
For a little texture.
Great.
All right, Chef Dan, you got a winner here. Not only does it look pretty, it is really, really yummy too.
It's kind of like tastes of pastrami sandwich.
Good donor and executive chef Dan Mollahan, thank you so much for stopping by.
You're very welcome.
Good luck with the new restaurant.
Yeah. Thanks so much, guys.
Cheers.
I wanna see you smile, take you another mile. Don't gotta wait, don't gotta wait, don't gotta wait today. It's happening all around, like sun shining through the